right, folks, check it out. You are checking out DJ Elf 7. Hopefully, I'm not doubling up right here. Now, the fact of the matter is that we actually have some people here, and I'm going to have them introduce themselves one by one. I'm going to start at the top left with Eric. Why don't you introduce yourself?
Hey, how you doing? Eric Frankel, coming live from Vietnam. I have a small business in Brooklyn. Been there since 1890. Found out our politicians are working for the lobbyists, not the community. I said I was going to run for office, try to replace them. But I would say if you ask somebody from Brooklyn how you doing, they say we're doing great. It means they just moved into the neighborhood or they're visiting from out of state. So I'm pissed off like everybody else, knowing that our elected politicians actually work for the lobbyists, and I wanted to stop them. I still do. So look forward to sharing my experience.
Okay, that's good. Yeah, and you have some knowledge of the political system from your from running previously. That's very good. What about
Yeah.
Nathaniel? Go ahead.
My name is Nathaniel Jabronsky. I'm here in Manhattan, and I am a constituent advocate ranging from state legislatures and the federal Congress, from Boston to Bismarck to Topeka to Richmond, and a few other places in between. And I'm expanding into North Carolina now, and I'm working on helping people with different problems with government to get solutions, and going helping candidates who I have belief in to win elections and be successful public office holders.
Okay, nice to meet you. Yeah. Okay. Mary, why don't you introduce yourself to my audience real quick?
Hi, I'm Mary Ellen Probansky. I'm a grassroots coordinator in New York for the Convention of States Project. And we're a grassroots self-governance group that is using Article 5 of the US Constitution to bypass Congress and impose term limits.
Okay, that's a pretty cool project. I'm a supporter. Yeah. Okay, but we also have someone from a very similar project. I believe her name is Ellie. Go ahead. Why don't you introduce yourself and your project?
Hi, so my name's Eli, not Ellie.
I'm sorry,
Um,
I just met him yesterday.
yeah, so yesterday I met Elf. I'm in Move to Amend and a bunch of other groups that aren't as important to me as Move to Amend is. And Move to Amend is doing is something very similar to what Eric is interested in and what Mary Ellen is interested in, and is they're trying to fight Citizens United versus the FEC, and to most importantly, change and corporate personhood, which is corporations having the same rights as people.
Oh, sorry, I'm
And
sorry. Yeah, I'm good.
That's good. Okay.
Yeah, headphones?
Very
You have
excited
headphones?
to meet you.
and I'm in Brooklyn. I'm in from Brooklyn. I'm in Bay Ridge.
Yeah, he
I'll
actually
get
introduced
back
me to a bunch of
Sorry, I
other political
apologize.
activists. That's for some of the people I didn't know who are coming in. I'm gonna look at the people. There's some more people who are
Thank you so
jumping in
much.
right now, but I'm gonna check with you guys. If
Yeah.
your friends, Eli, you said, if your friends are trying to jump in,
Yeah, of
they
course.
need to like contact you, like Jason
Sorry
Klein.
about that.
Mark
Apologize.
Staffman, he's cool.
Yeah, right here.
I don't know Jason Klein. I don't know if that's your friend or
Yeah.
Elliot, but let me know if
Thank
you
you.
want to jump in. Okay. Mark,
Elliot's my
awesome. Yeah,
friend, but not
I'm very
Jason.
excited about Mark, but I'm also excited about my man Mike Zimbleskis, actually. A consultant, very well. I'll let him introduce himself. Go ahead.
Yeah, my name's Mike Sombluskas, and I basically got involved in politics in the first Ross Perot campaign in 1992. I've run for office. I've been in nonprofit groups. I've helped candidates, hundreds upon hundreds of candidates. I've trained election attorneys, and 90% of the time I do it for free. I'm very knowledgeable on the election law, not just in New York State, but in a number of other states. I follow what's going on, and I've been upset with many, many things, and we just got to wake up the people and get them out to vote. Because if we don't do that, this country's over. We are facing decay. We're facing politicians that are just not capable of leading in growing this country, and we need to change stuff. I have a question. Just give me a call. All right.
Appreciate that. Yeah. Okay, Nolan, why don't you introduce yourself?
You can hear me?
Yeah.
Okay, my name is Nolan Farrell. I'm from Queens, New York. I was wrongly convicted by Queens County District Attorney's Office under Richard A. Brown administration. And now Melinda Katz is the DA at Queens County. And they dragging their feet to exonerate me for all my wrongful conviction in Queens County. And I'm doing rallies and against the office this Tuesday, and hopefully this group of people can come and support my rally. Right the wrong. Okay, I'm Farrell. Thank you.
And Melinda Katz actually has her primary coming up. That's pretty interesting, yeah.
Yeah.
And Daniels was, I think, supporting you. That was pretty cool. Anyways, but we have another candidate right here, Bernard Chow. Thank you so much for coming by. Very cool.
Hello, how are you? My name is Bernard Chow. I'm running for City Council at District 23. That is in Queens. That is from Fresh Meadows east to the edge of Long Island, and from Bayside south to the junction to Jamaica Avenue. I believe that New York needs a balanced government. Right now it is too lopsided and off-sided. And it's not necessary which side is better, but we know for sure if the majority is two majority that guarantee we lose the balance, and the only one suffering will be the people living in New York. So I am all out for having a balanced government. Thank you.
Okay. Actually, this is a guy right here. Mark is actually, hopefully he could hear me or see me through the voice translator. Mark is actually a deaf, I work with disabilities advocacy. He's actually deaf and he's legally blind. He still could see with some serious aid, and he's also has severe hearing loss. Mark, can you hear me? Can you see what's going on? He might be reading the chat. Yeah, I'm gonna type in the chat and introduce himself. I'm gonna. In the meantime, though, I might jump over to. Oh my goodness. Okay. One of these. Okay. Waiting. Okay.
Yeah, oh, and I can hear you.
Oh, Mark, you heard it? Can you introduce yourself?
Oh, no, that's okay. I'm just, my name is Mark Staff, and I'm deafblind, and I really do a lot of sustainability, inclusion. Like you've heard about the DEI, diversity, equity, and inclusion, and people have been criticizing it, but even within DEI, the disabilities aspects, people just ignore the fact that there are disabled people, and there are statistics for employment for people who are deaf, blind and deaf. These are really the only disabilities challenges that require recurring, expensive accommodation versus other challenges, and the numbers for the higher employment figures for people who are deaf, blind, deaf are terrible, and there has not been much progress made. So people talk about remote work, and it's kind of like, no, that might be for other challenges, but if you're deaf, blind or deaf, remote work is not a benefit. But just been working with on a whole bunch of things, trying to promote deaf blindness, because people just don't understand the challenges we face, and they're very, very simple challenges to understand, and they're very beneficial to a lot of things. But thank you. Thanks.
Appreciate that, Mark. All right. If you could introduce yourself, Chris.
Hey, can you hear me, brother?
I can hear you.
Hey, my name is Christopher Leon Johnson. Sorry, I'm in the library. I'm doing some business right now to upload some videos. All right, so thank you for having me on, DJ. I appreciate it. I do media. I do a lot of political media. I'm really a member of the press. I'm gonna show you right here. I'm sorry, in the library. I'm roaming around. I'm a member of the press, and I'm a member of the New York State Press Member Association. So I do a lot of political media. I know a lot about politics. I cover both sides. I'm really into electioneering, election stuff, campaigning, canvassing, doing phone calls, and everything you think of, trying to get people elected to city council, state assembly, and federal office. But shout out to DJ. Thanks for having me on, bro. I really do. And thanks to everybody here on this panel. And we hope we have a great conversation tonight. And by the way, myself and DJ, we do a show every Sunday. We can't say the time because I'll be so busy, so I can't guarantee time. So we'll be on every Sunday talking about political topics and more. So, I thought after this, I hope we all can connect. And thank you. Thanks for having me on, bro. Appreciate it.
Absolutely. Hey, a quick question for Dion's next. Yeah, can you hear us? I know you're live at location somewhere. Dion, can you hear us? Okay. Anyways, just so you know, Dion is actually associated with
Yeah,
Brexit.
I
And
can hear you.
they
I'll
just
get
had
over
an event
there.
canceled. That was crazy. Go ahead. Dion, can you hear us?
Hear me?
Yeah.
All right, let me check on. It's very noisy here. Northern Manhattan Republican Club. There's a lot of good people here that know us so in common. From the Parent Party to the Queens Village Republican Club. We have Paul Rodriguez here, who ran for New York State Comptroller. And right now, I'm going to step out in the wonderful world of Washington Heights. So hopefully my audio is just a little bit better. How's that sound, guys?
Sounds good, Dion.
Okay.
All right, now let me post up here. Building like we do in the hood. And okay, so I guess we're doing introductions, right, Ed?
Yeah. Okay. So thanks for introducing yourself. Yeah. My volume's super low because actually I need to find my headphones and stuff, but I don't want to have the doubling occurring. So, but yeah, I'm glad you introduced yourself, and if we have, we're about to get this whole discussion started about what's going on with the. Siraj Jaz. Okay, Siraj is joining. He's actually a libertarian, so I'll have him introduce himself. He's a pretty cool guy. He was actually thinking about running for for city council as well. Now, while he's joining, we're about to get started. This is actually just a great time for him to jump in. Yeah. Siraj, what's up? Can you hear me?
Yes. How are you?
Siraj, you came in just in time. We're just finished the introductions. You're the last one to introduce yourself. Then we're going to start the actual discussion.
Okay.
So you want to introduce yourself? Go ahead.
Yes, my name is Suraj Jaswal. I'm an environmental consultant.
Okay, cool, man. All right, so so let's just start talking about this particular race right here. Now, the fact is that because of term limits, the city council was actually a majority of city council seats were going to flip, meaning that there could have been some meaningful change as in terms of these election cycles for the last 2 or 3 years of city council races, right? But as people that have been struggling with a lot of injustice or trying to get our issues solved, from disabilities to wrongful convictions, right, to people that are even trying to get a constitutional amendments to try to be heard, we could see that has things really moved forward in case for this election as in terms of your own issues. So or is our discussion, right, honestly, all of a sudden now people are talking about Drag Queen Story Hour, are they talking about the end of public housing as we know it? Are they talking about, what are the real issues? Who's driving the issues? What are the issues? What about this wrongful conviction guy? You know what I mean? That's a real issue right there. But, the news is talking about some issues and not other issues. So, look, I'm not saying that I do believe, that there is some good reason for concern about the medical industry taking advantage of people that are in that community too. Anyways, I want to hear from you guys. It shouldn't just be about me, it should be about you guys. So go ahead, jump in. Oh my goodness, Cynthia Tibbs is joining. Oh my goodness, yeah? Whoa, okay. Well, I guess, let me just let her introduce herself, because she's actually a very high profile. Cynthia Tibbs, oh my goodness, so exciting to meet you, yeah? Okay. She's actually a public housing, tenant association president and known activist in public housing. I just introduced her. Cynthia, did you want to say anything about yourself before we get started with the conversation?
Can you hear me?
Yes.
I am a NYCHA president on the Upper West Side. I oversee 36 brownstones, and I am also the second vice president of the Manhattan South District Council of Presidents. And I'm observing, basically.
Excellent, yeah. So I was just kicking it off. We just started the conversation with there's a lot of issues that the press is talking about, but there's some issues like public housing and that the press is not talking about. Is the media narrative managed, and do you have needs that are going on that are not being discussed, right? Like this convention of states, they have what, 19 out of 32 states needed to actually cause a whole entire constitutional change. That's a huge news deal. They're more than halfway there. I don't hear the news talking about this at all, right? This is election season, time for people to get their things addressed. We have Bernard Chao here, candidate. Wow. Anybody want to discuss this particular topic? Go ahead.
Well, I'm going to start off because this is a redistricting year. All you basically have is city council candidates and judges, which means it's going to be a very low turnout. This happens once every decade because in the Constitution we have
district
to.
Attorneys.
Sorry.
And district attorneys.
District attorneys, not in every borough though. That's just in Queens. That's a bit. It's not in Manhattan.
Right. In the Bronx.
Right, in the Bronx.
Right,
it's
right.
Not in the, but the thing is, which is a big one in there, but it's still a small race compared if you had the mayor running, the governor running, the president running. So the media is not going to be covering these races that much, which also means if you look at the historical turnout, these are going to be like special elections. You're going to be lucky in the primary this month. It's probably going to be between 4 to 7% turnout. Oh my God. 4 to 7% turnout. So what that means is you have to physically go and get your people out if you're a candidate to win. The media is not going to drive it. You're not having a mayor or any other big offices driving these out. That's why in Manhattan, the Democrats, for the first time in, I'm talking 5 decades, actually challenged Republican candidates to try to kick them off the ballot. They were successful with one because they know anything can happen when it's a low voter turnout. And so I recommend to every candidate out there running, pick 1 or 2 issues that are important to your district and hammer them home, get names, and make sure those people come out to vote because that's the only way you're going to win.
Especially now with the ranked voting, which is new for this year in the primaries, that some candidates that wouldn't have had a chance prior to this might actually be able to threaten some of the incumbents because people might not have idea who anyone is and sporadically just put down names and numbers. I don't think, I mean, we don't really know how this is going to play out with the ranked choice voting, how it's going to impact some of these incumbent races, but I do think it will potentially change up some things. If some newcomers come out and really put a lot of effort in, they might actually upset a couple of incumbents depending on how things play out if there's a primary in the race.
Well, one of the things adding on to that is in the past, what would happen is you would have 3, 4 insurgent candidates against the incumbent. They would split the vote. But with ranked choice voting, most of the people that are going to vote against the incumbent will rank some of the challengers 1, 2, 3, and probably put the incumbent on the very end. So there could be a lot of upsets, but it's up to you to get your name out there and make sure they rank you one of those top choices.
And to make sure people get to vote before, so you can still register before the 17th, of my understanding. So if you've still got a couple of days left to get new voters registered to vote for you, and if you're the one who gets them registered to vote, there's a good chance they're going to put you at top of their list.
Hey, so I just want to jump in for a second. I saw that some people tried to join. I don't know if they're watching, right? Brenda, I don't know if that's DJ Brenda Black. I hope that she could jump in this discussion. John C. and Elliot, please contact me by phone or other platforms like Facebook or Twitter if I actually know you or if you're actually someone else calling. I know that Reverend Keith Gadsden's trying to jump in here. And some other
Elliot's my friend. You met him yesterday.
Oh, okay. He's with. Okay. See, that's why I don't really know. So, yeah. If
You
you
met him
know,
already.
I'm gonna let him in. Okay. Hopefully nothing crazy happens. And there's another guy
Yeah,
named John C.
You were at his house yesterday.
I'm sorry. Yeah. I meet a lot of people, as you can see right now. Right. Yeah. Elliot, that's cool. Elliot, okay. There was also Lion, and what was the girl's name? Anyways, yeah, so Elliot's coming in. Anyways, yeah, so there's now the thing is that there's also special races. You might want to talk about certain races going on in particular, or you might want to talk about large trends. I know that Chow's running against Linda Lee. That's you have your own personal interest. This is very personal for you. Wait, but you're waiting until the general, right? So the primary isn't really affecting you that much, is it?
Yeah, I don't have a primary. I have a general. That's it. Yep.
Yeah, so you're good to go. But do you have
So
any
make it
particular
or break it.
you have any particular allies? I mean, you're in the game, I guess, so to speak. You got any allies that you're really hoping win?
What do you mean by ally?
Allies, like sometimes when people get in, then they can actually help their friends win.
I'm very new. I'm still looking for it. I'm still open for suggestions. Let's put it this way.
Okay, that's cool. All right. Does anybody have any particular races in particular that they want to comment on?
Oh yeah, can you hear me? So I want to comment on the 47th race, the District 47 that's based in Brooklyn. That's gonna be it's a crazy primary for the Republican line. So as everybody knows that because of districting, they had to put the maps all spread out differently. So they had a big plan of trying to put Justin Brandon's district into Alexa Lieber's district for the mapping, for the original mapping suggestion.
Thank you.
So they said no. So now they put the mapping in between the Ari Kagan district, and now it's mostly going to be Ari Kagan versus Justin Brandon. So right now in the 47th district, it's Bay Ridge and Coney Island all together. So it's a big competitive primary. Whoever wins that primary is going to be the control South Brooklyn. It's a real conservative leading area. It's a Republican primary right now. It's a big three-way primary for the Republican. It's between Ari Kagan, who's the incumbent, technically the Suedo incumbent, Annabella DeForest. I think Dion knows her. She's more dealing with the anti-vaccine movement. And then you have Abel Priara. He's backed by Nicholas Chambers. So it's going to be a tough thing. Mostly Ari Kagan can come out on top. But in the general election, you never know what's going to happen in the general election because a lot of people going back up the Republican over Justin Brandon. But we all know how Justin Brandon is. He plays a little dirty tricks, so he might come out on top. We never know. So that's a big primary we got, big election we got to worry about. Is number 4.
All right.
Okay, since you mentioned about that, I want to mention about another race that's in Brooklyn. That is District 43, Sunset Park area, which is a newly drawn.
How about that?
Yeah, it was a newly drawn district, mainly to have a very high concentration of Asian, and when I say Asian, it's mostly Chinese in that neighborhood. We have a primary for Republican, and of course, always a primary for Democrat. The primary have one Asian. For the Republican, have one Asian is called Yang Tang, Yingtan. Chinese has a habit of voting for Chinese, and with such a heavy Asian, heavy Chinese neighborhood, when it comes to general, I will see that all the Chinese is going to be voting for Chinese. Thank you.
Okay, that's aren't there several Asian candidates or Chinese candidates running for positions in that area?
For Democrat, there is three Asian running forward. One is Wei
competing
Chen,
against each other, right? Do you have a favorite?
Susan and Stanley Ng. And for the Republican, there is the only Chinese is Yang Tang, and she is the one. I will see that if you I will see that when it comes to general, the Chinese will pick a Chinese.
Yeah. All right. What about?
So if the Republican want to win the general, then I think the phase 2 means a lot to the community. Yes.
One thing that New York City is unique in, and one thing that we're a leader in the nation is that we imparted this thing that honestly I have a lot of questions about it. This thing called ranked choice voting, and a lot of politicians are out there promoting ranked choice voting like it's some great solution. We've already been through several years. This is our second time.
Hello?
Through an election cycle with this in place. You feel like
Yes.
it's done anything for the process, or you think it really opened things up? You have actual practical experience.
Sorry, guys.
That is
how's it
that is
impacting this race?
that is a very excellent example on that. That's a very good example on that, because that right now, Wei Yi and Susan and Stanley Ng, they are very competitive with each other, and what it means is that whoever seems to be the most friendly is going to be that. It's going to be the second choice, choice number 2. So that will mix a lot of different and specific this race.
6.
So you're saying it's encouraging the candidates to be more friendly with each other and to not
I think it's a blue one.
not to push hard issues, right? I agree.
I think that is very. I think down to the bottom.
What's your name?
Christopher Johnson.
I'm sorry, it's a little bit loud on the mic. Sorry about that. Sometimes I can't hear you well. I think down to the bottom is on the constituent that we will be serving, and we need to address their need, and we need to be genuine to them, because they see they honestly, there is eyes everywhere, and they see what people has been doing, and are they being true to what they committed to? So I think the real true contributor to the community will be the one that will end up on top. No matter how much politics that people is trying to pull, having a real genuine heart to the community will be the one who end up at the top.
Yeah. So can you hear me now? Sorry about that, guys.
Go ahead.
Hello.
Yeah, go ahead, Chris.
Okay, yeah, I'm sorry about that. I was doing the library and something on my other phone. So yeah, so I said before, it's a big primary. It's like a 5-way race. So we have both primaries at this coming up, the Republican primary and the Democratic primary, and for both Republican and Democrat. So there's no conservative, there's no working families primaries, and nobody got those 2 lines. So it's going to be Republican versus Democrat in the fall. So most likely it's going to be between Susan Zhuang and Wiley Chan for the Democratic primary. And on the Republican line, there's going to be a person named Ying Tan. She's backed by the operatives of the Republican Party, the Brooklyn Republican Party, and Vito Lobella, who ran last year against Iwan Chu, who is backed by County. He's the county preferred candidate to be the nominee for the Republican line. So what's going to happen in the general election, if Wei Chan wins the primary and she goes up against Vito Lobella, it's going to be a Democratic gain, because Vito, he don't have the same mapping from this district from the other district. The reason he lost against Iwan Chu, because Iwan Chu has Sunset Park. This district don't even cover the area of Sunset Park that Iwan Chu got over on top by 400 votes. So this time around, most likely if Vito goes against any Democrat nominee, most likely the Democratic nominee is gonna come out on top this time. So most likely he'll come out. She might come out on top. That's my opinion.
This year is completely different because it's going to be such a low voter turnout. It's going to be the ground game. I don't care whether you're a Democrat or Republican, that is going to make the difference. Also, the Democrats are getting beat up nationally and locally over the illegal immigration issue. I have been talking to so many long-term, I was in the Independence Party forever. So I help Democrats, Republicans, even though I'm a Republican now and a Republican district leader. But I talk to so many people, especially a lot of my friends in the NYCHA complexes, are furious that they're spending $4 billion just to house and feed the illegal immigrants. That's not counting medical care. That's not counting
Give me a second,
schools.
Give me a second, Mike, yeah?
Sure.
Actually, I think Carmen just jumped in. I think there's some background noise from her, which is cool, actually. She's actually a friend of yours and a friend of mine.
Absolutely.
Carmen, can you hear us?
Hey, guys. How y'all doing?
Carmen, it's great. If you could introduce yourself, but the thing is that there's some extra noise come out in the background. Just so you know, from your side, right? Yeah, I don't know if the TV's on or something, but I'm very excited that you're here. Thank you so much for coming. You know I'm a big fan.
Of course, thanks for the invite.
If you see
hey,
my
Mike.
studio above my
How you doing,
above my
Carmen?
computer, I still have your your campaign stuff hanging on my wall still.
Really?
Yeah. So go ahead and introduce yourself.
You are so cute, D.
Right.
But my Mike was making a lot of sense. Keep on, Mike.
And the thing is, people are waking up to that we were completely 100% lied to the detriment of many people over the COVID. The lockdowns, I mean, I'm in SEIU. There's a meeting later this month, and they say masks are required. There have been many studies from around the world, in this country, in the CDC. I'm walking in there without a mask. They're still trying to put that bullshit in. They're having us vaccinate our kids as low as 6 months old, where all of Europe, Australia, and everywhere else has said anybody under 18 years old is not supposed to get a vaccine. The Democrats, once this information gets out, could lose a lot of races over this stuff. Especially, you don't want to wake up the parents. Those mothers are going to be very upset. You have colleges that are still requiring kids to get vaccinated. And there's been a number of studies. I know the German Ministry of Health must be putting out false information. 1 in 5,000 that gets the vaccine, young men between the ages of 16 to 35, can get heart problems from it. And they're still requiring that. This is the stuff that people need to put out. You've been lied to. They're trying to take away your freedoms. They're trying to destroy our country, our city, and we keep on doing it. Yes, the media is complicit in this. That's one of the reasons they never want me on, because I'll tear them apart. I have enough facts. For example, I ran for Congress against Nadler last year. 538 contacted me because I had problems with the 2020 election. When they want to call me an election denier. I've been fighting this stuff since the early 90s, election fraud, especially with absentee ballots. Then I emailed them 10 cases, Democrats and Republicans, that were overturned in the courts because of absentee ballot fraud. So when you have to, all I'm saying is you have to ask questions. If you're a candidate, you have to get your people to ask questions about what's been going on. You can't convince them overnight, but you can direct them to certain information and say, hey, look at this. Why is it that we had our kids, kindergarten kids, mask, first graders, second graders. No country in Europe did. No country anywhere around the world except for Canada and us had our young kids masked. Think about that. Think about that.
Sweden even went the extra. They talked about how masks were actually a problem in Sweden.
Yes, absolutely.
Sweden was like, all this stuff coming out of America and Canada is actually detrimental. And you saw more and more European countries talking about how everything coming out of the U.S. was actually counterproductive as far as tackling this. It was a long-term implication. And listen, as someone who travels literally from Bismarck to Boston to Topeka to Richmond on a regular basis, I can tell you that the local level, there are a lot of people who will just see the letter D and will run away. I was given an award by the North Carolina Democratic governor because I was able to get enough young volunteers under the age of 18 in Mecklenburg County, which is Charlotte, North Carolina, to volunteer and to engage in activism politically against his campaign. The youth are not as gung-ho for the liberals and the Democrats as people might think. A lot of kids I was working with down there all went and participated in ventures to replace Mr. Cooper as governor, that do not have him be the governor. And he had to give me an award for my volunteering drive efforts, which I thought was kind of ironic. But there's a lot of young people who see this as being, they were forcefully masked They were restricted from having their social life. They lost a lot, and they can feel they've lost a lot.
So I'm glad that we had the discussion about the masks. I just want to take a break for a second and introduce my man Brian, who just jumped in. This is actually my 2022 Actives of the Year, and he's actually not from New York directly. He's been to New York several times. He's actually, I'll let him actually introduce himself, though. He's actually quite interesting. Go ahead, Brian.
Hey, I'm just here to listen and support the conversation about the issues that New York is facing. So.
Okay, yeah, he's a former legislator from New Hampshire. He was served several terms, and actually he moved to the Carolinas. I don't know if you guys know, but they're actually trying to make the Carolinas the first states to vote versus Iowa. And if that happens, then that changes a lot of stuff.
Well, on the Republican side, that won't happen. I'm in Iowa a lot. Iowa, it's in their constitution that they have to be the first vote, and New Hampshire's number 2. It's in their constitution. The Democrats' process this time is not going very well. It's not. And it's widely believed that they will revert back to the Iowa caucus, New Hampshire primary cycle very quickly, but the Republicans will not be converting their schedule at all in any circumstances. It's just the Democrats, and that will probably only last one cycle when it doesn't really matter anyway, because they're going to force Biden through the system anyway.
Are there any races on the tipping edge that you think that, earlier Mike was saying that because of the facets of this race, it's very easy for us to achieve change? What races do you think we could tip?
Are you asking me?
Anybody.
Well, I think the 13th district in the Bronx, it's one of the few districts. It also has primaries on the Democrat and Republican side. I have a friend, Bernadette Farrar, who's running up there, and some of the polling that she's done and other people have done, she's a conservative Democrat, and she's leading her incumbent by 15 points in the Democratic primary. They're tired of what's going on. I don't call it the liberals. I call it the progressives. I consider myself, in some respects, an old-fashioned liberal. I believe in free speech. I believe in equality for everybody, but not equality, equality of rights, not equality of outcomes. That's a difference.
I like that.
And people are getting fed up.
People are fed up. People are tired of being tired.
Exactly.
Okay? Let me tell you something. I'm gonna piggyback off what you were saying, especially about the vaccinations. I've never had one of them vaccinations, thank God. And I have lupus. I've got COPD. I got a whole lot of stuff happening. Okay, never took it. Wouldn't take it. I don't know what was in it. It was made too fast. No, that was the biggest scam I've ever seen, and people fell for it. People fell for it. This country is becoming, let me tell you something. I am an immigrant myself, if you really look at it, right? And for us to take all these immigrants in here, let me tell you something. I don't have a problem with anyone. But I really believe that the Democrats need to really be thinking about taking care of home before you take care of other people. Our New York City Housing Authority is falling apart. Look at all the money you're spending on people that just got here. I'm still giving out food since before COVID started. We're feeding our people here. Where is our government when it comes to us that have made this country, actually, that have literally struggled and made this country? And we're suffering, but people are living better than we are. How is that?
Because most of our politicians, the only thing they know how to do is to lie and try to buy off people by giving them false dreams and not actually solving the problems. Our education system has been deteriorating for 50 years. We used to be New York City used to be one of the top educations in the world. In the world.
Mike, you're so right. Mike, we talk all the time.
Yeah.
I've got 19 grandkids and 13 great grand. And I have to fight to make sure that they're getting the best education they can, get to the best schools that they can. One thing I stole from Trump. I stole that from Trump. America first. That is so real, especially when I start looking at all my people suffering every day, fighting to make sure that the ceilings are not falling on their head. But yet, there's billions of dollars that they're spending on people that just got here. Take care of home. I was taught you take care of home first.
Well, you're right.
And that's what our Democrats are not doing. Our politicians are not doing it. And this is just, I'm so tired. I'm tired of the fight.
The narrative is all about these new people, though. That's where the narrative is. That's where the money is. I was working with a girl in California. She was a single mother with a serious heart condition. She needed emergency housing and food assistance because her heart condition wasn't even allow her to get on a bus, try to travel for work. She was going to have some therapy. And she qualified for programs for the housing and for the food and for quite a few things. But this is what she was told. This was in Red Bluffs, California, just outside of Sacramento, that you qualify her thing. However, the governor had just reattributed all the money from those programs to legal aid of incoming immigrants. And that's where
they're giving all the money to these programs that don't do nothing. They do stuff, don't do nothing for nobody but them.
Yes, and so this girl ended up not having the access to the program she qualified for because California redistributed the money towards the legal aid of the immigrants. And she ended up dying about 3 months later due to complications because she wasn't able to get the services she needed. And her kids are now in the foster care program out in California. And I've tried to keep up with them a little bit, but it's because California has priorities into, being how the woker you are, the better you are as a state. So if any chance that you could do more to be woke, you have to do that or you lose space as progressives. And as far as the New York system goes, okay, look at the way we're spending money. Baltimore City, for example, spends more money on their education than anywhere else in the country. They also have the lowest scores. Baltimore City has the worst education scores, where the person at the 12th grade level is actually only able to read and comprehend at the 6th grade level. There's only about 20% of the Baltimore City school system is at the appropriate grade level with all of their assessments from mathematics to literature to reading comprehension. But they have the most amount of money being spent on the education. And you look at cities like New York. Okay, so The Economist and a bunch of different magazines back in 2017 did stories about the charter school systems that were developing here in New York. And the charter schools that were away from the teachers' unions actually had much, much higher scores. The public school system tried to fight them and tear them down because the charter schools were having better score systems. Look at Newark, New Jersey, while Cory Booker was the mayor there. They brought in charter schools. Their schools started to improve themselves because of the charter schools. The public school system originally was a great idea, but the fact that we're having so much of this indoctrination and education going to schools and the bloated administrative cost, you look at the cost of most public school systems, over 80% of the cost is on building new buildings and administrative retreats and betterment programs for all these, programs. Well, we have to update our teachers and train our teachers on all these inclusive stuff. Well, that's all done in Resort Town in Atlantic City or somewhere in Myrtle Beach. I've seen that happen, and so this is a problem with the way they spend the money. Look at, for example, the state of Iowa has a $7 billion state budget, right? It's appropriations to the state and to the local level, all the appropriations for schools. The budget is $6.5 billion to the Iowa public school system, and they still say they don't get enough money. you're never going to give them enough money. They're always, school system, we're going to say, well, we don't have enough money. We're not getting enough money. When the reality is, they don't do the right things with the money they're given. And so we really need to look at alternatives so we can make this public school system compete for those students and therefore the dollars to actually produce high quality education for our students so they can contribute to a high competition economy.
Nathaniel, let me step in and give you a couple other facts to jump on what you're saying. In the 1960s, there was 2.5 teachers for every one administrative and support staff in our public school system. Nowadays, it's over over 1 to 1 to 1.5 to 1, depending on the school system. So for every teacher, you have one administrative staff and or support staff, and then they say, "Where's the money?" The other thing is, New York City spends over $30 billion on our public school, public school system from kindergarten to 12th grade. There's only 67 countries, that spend more on their complete national budget than what New York City spends on their school budget. It's not that there's not enough money, because every time you hear any Democrat and even some Republicans, when they're running for office, oh, we got to fix the schools, we need more money. No, if you're spending $30 billion, no, where is the money going? Do you realize the city council usually only has 3 days of hearings and oversight on that $30 billion budget?
Yeah.
3 days of oversight. What kind of job are they doing? They're not. So any candidate, I would bring that up and hit them over the head. It's not that there's not enough money. Why are our teachers having to take money out of their pockets to buy supplies?
That's right. That's right. Exactly right.
If we're spending $30 billion a year on our school system.
I want to ask a question right quick. I know that Brian has some experience like putting together legislative packages. We have a diverse number of interests. We got people with public housing. We got people talking about vaccine. We got people talking about a variety of interests today, right? Right, anti-corruption stuff. How can we put together maybe a way for all our communities to get together, right? Disabilities. I know, Mark hasn't really been able to say much. It's tough with disabilities, but how can we create something where we could all work together and maybe,
Well, on the disabilities, I want to say this on disabilities. You're going to have to talk to people with disabilities and understand the systems, the restrictions that they have. So most people don't know what the restrictions are. People in government don't know what the restrictions that government has imposed on people with disabilities. For example, SSI, which is what a majority of people on disability get, that paycheck on average is only $550 a month. To be able to qualify for the New York housing lottery, you have to make $25,000 a year, right? And to qualify for the New York housing lottery for that $25,000 a year, you are only going to pay $625 a month for rent. That's roughly 6.7% of that person's income. However, all the housing programs for people living on SSI, they require them to pay 30% of their income, which is typically around $300 if you make the most. So for the most is like $790 some dollars. Like it's usually between that and like 800 something. Typically, they're still paying 30%, which is almost as much as the person who's making $25,000 a year. So the government says that we're doing all these great things for all these people, but then they write the laws, they set things up to where they can't succeed. For example, if you want to apply for EP and SNAP as a disabled person in Iowa, it's 2 pages. They ask you for your name, your information, proof of income, and you support it. In New York, it's 10 pages, 3 interviews. You have to actually
get that right.
You get to have copies of your leases. Here's the thing: most people who live in New York City that are on these programs aren't in legal housing. They are in illegal housing in someone's basement with no lease. The landlord is not going to sign this piece of paper saying, yeah, this person gives me so many dollars a month for rent, because then he gets in trouble because he's leasing out an illegal apartment. They don't. These politicians say all this crap about how good they are, but when it comes to people who actually have to survive on these programs, they can't even access them because the programs were written in such a way they can't. And then they say, well, we're doing all we can for disabled and poor people. Well, we're just writing, make sure we write the laws so they can't have access to it, even though we're doing so much help for them.
Hey, I have an idea. To answer your question, Elf, what we were talked about yesterday when we were talking about, at first we talked about connecting students, but then I had the idea that all of us have very similar interests. At the root cause of every one of these problems is money in politics, is corruption, it's mismanagement, it's the fact that the society can't hold politicians accountable. So here's my solution. If we all collectively start joining each other's groups as a group, and then we just create more of a presence that way, and we say like there's like 1, 2, 4, 6, 8, 10 people in this chat right now. So if all 10 of us join 10 different groups, then we started the New York chapter for any one of those groups that doesn't have a New York chapter, like Represent Us, for example. And for all the groups that do have a New York chapter, we just create a bigger presence with them. Then because we're a part of basically every group that's active, involved in everything that we care about, then we're in every Slack. We're in all their group chats. And so we tell all of them, hey, we're organizing an event with all these different groups. And they don't have to know that we're actually a part of all the other groups too. That's how we're organizing it. Or maybe they do, it doesn't matter. But we tell them, hey, we're organizing this event with, and we give them the list. This is like this group, disabled people, disabled veterans, this group, and all these people are coming. And it's true because we're members of all of them. Then we tell all the people from those groups that are stationed in New Jersey and upstate and everything to come through. And then we invite candidates and stuff to come to the events too. And then we can start coming together more and bring in all these different people together. And we'll start an event at like a park or something, so it's free with just permits. And then we'll just grow it because with the first event, we'll just have members from 10 different groups come together. And then slowly with the second event, we'll have members from 12 different groups to come together. And eventually it'll grow like that.
One thing that would be really cool to come together is we have a candidate here right now. We could actually cut a deal. So the thing is that, right, we have people from public housing here. I don't know what Bernard Chow's commitment to public housing is at this time. But, maybe, if people, now he's not worried about the primary, but the general election, I know Michael Zimbluskas actually supported public housing against Nadler, like he mentioned earlier. Right, let's start making some deals, right? Or maybe we can combine our groups together. If people want to go out and recruit, like you said, that's not a bad strategy.
It's not about recruiting. You just join all.
I'm ready to be part of that.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, we could start together as a group, start supporting different candidates like Chow.
Give me just a moment.
I also want to make sure that my man Mark, did you want to say anything? I know it's harder for him to jump in.
You're muted, Mark.
Mark, you're muted. Can you people point to the ear, maybe? I don't know. Yeah, or put in the chat actually. All right, either way, yeah. Or okay, so Bernard,
what do you guys think of
the general?
What do you think of the idea of us all joining together? I just want to know.
Can we join together effectively and actually help candidates win?
I believe we can.
Yeah. Another thing is that hasn't been talked about too is also the Medical Freedom Party. You don't hear the press talking about them at all, but they got some candidates running, and this is their second cycle of running candidates. It's pretty impressive.
Yeah. We could join them too. So I just want to know.
Can I say something about that? I'm sorry.
Yeah, me too. Me too. Yeah, I want.
Yeah, please. Yeah.
Me too.
All right. Now I have some daring footage of Steve Spear, who we all love and know is cool. At the Board of Elections hearing, where all the medical freedom people got knocked out. So mutual sharing things so people know. So I'm not sure if they're going to be a ballot based on Yoda. Theo Chino sent me the hearing from Steve explain stuff. But
I can't hear you very well.
Yeah, your audio is pretty. Yeah, I think it's a connection. It's all good. All right, while you're
But
saying
wait,
that,
I
why
just
don't
want
we
to
go
know
Chris and
before
then
we
you
move
can
on.
respond? Yes, so go ahead, Chris.
Yeah, so I think Theo Chino brought it up yesterday on his my block Twitter page about the Medical Freedom Party wasn't able to get on the ballot. I think it's mostly about independent signatures. They couldn't get on the ballot for independent, so they got upset about that. And Theo brought it up. Well, this is my thing. This is my take about that. 2023, the vaccine mandates are over, right? The mandates are done. There's a lot of. I understand you want to educate people, but don't use that type of stuff to try to educate people and try to run a whole campaign on and trying to get people to have people run for a general election on trying to fight a campaign like that. I think it's kind of stupid. People care more about.
Okay, wait a minute. What did I miss just now? All right,
that's fair. Everybody's allowed to have their own opinion, yeah. But the thing is that there'll be different opinions on what's right and what's wrong, or the right way to go about things.
Yeah. So going back to what I said, going back to what I said about the medical freedom. I said I think people should be fight. I think they should be fighting for more like realistic issues like public safety and quality of life. Now, I'm against the vaccine mandates, but I don't think that's a wise idea to try to run a whole campaign based on a topic that's already been repelled. The vaccine mandates in New York State has been repelled.
Actually, that's not true. Because every time you turn around, there's a new strand of something. It keeps going on and it keeps going on. I guess it depends on what is important in your district. If the health issue is your district, then you should run on it. It depends on everybody's district.
And the thing is, it's also not over. Colleges are requiring students to get the shot in boosters before they can even attend class.
Exactly.
Right,
so it's not over. And the other thing is, sorry, go ahead.
Yeah, sorry to cut you off, Mike, but this is more local. Steve Spear, in my opinion, nothing personal, he's a self-proclaimed asshole. Self-proclaimed asshole. He's alienated so many people, it's ridiculous. Now, I'm just going to say this. If he would have teamed up with Children's Health Defense, with John Gilmore, Michael Caine, all people that are fighting for the jobs that are required from the mandate, that's more pressing.
See the thing, Dion, we don't need to get into that stuff.
We have to.
No. What I'm saying is we don't have to attack other people like that. The issue is still important. It should be talked about, but it should be talked about in conjunction with everything else. It also should be used because people are now seeing that we were lied to, and then you can use that and see how they're lying to us about what's going on in our schools, what's going on in all kinds of other stuff, and show how the media has been playing such a major part in this.
Right.
And you could talk on so many different issues. So you need to use so many different things. Okay, I know I'm talking a lot. Let other people.
Mike. I just want to say I've listened to you all, and I understand like all these problems are real, and there's so many issues that are all connected.
Oh, absolutely.
And all I'm trying to say is that, and I really agree with all the problems that have been talked about, but I want to just focus on a solution, and I'm thinking that the two solutions are: one, if we all join groups together, and then two, if we start supporting candidates together. But mostly the biggest thing I'm trying to say is that I want to make a plan for how we can organize together so we can make this meeting not just about each other educating each other, but about just talking about, oh, this is the problem with this and this is the problem with that, but talking about here is like how we're going to start a plan to make this meeting a life-changing event where we're going to start.
Totally agree with you. I totally agree with you.
Yeah.
Because and what's good about this program, what's good about this right now, I'm on Zooms all day, every day. Okay. I'm in a lot of daggone groups. So many that sometimes I get tired of Zoom. And you're absolutely right. what I am saying is that yes, we should leave today with some sort of group solution to make this a lot better, bring more people in, okay? And then we can start fighting the status quo.
Exactly.
That's really what we want to do. We
Exactly.
want to fight the status quo. Now, I'm game, but I'm only game when we're coming up with solutions to the issues.
Exactly.
I don't have time to waste. I am very busy. I do not have time to waste. So if I'm down, but with solutions. So I totally agree with you on that. But all issues are important.
Yeah, they are.
Yeah, I mean, you're right.
We'll have different priorities.
What we need to do. Yeah, not every district, every different issues could be more important in other districts.
Yeah.
What group we need to come out of this is we need to have a group that identifies a handful of candidates. We can't run, we're not big enough or organized enough, no matter how good we can be for this year, to get somebody to support 51 candidates. But
No,
we
not
might
right now.
But we might be able to get 5, 10, 12 candidates. So what we do is we help them build a ground game, help them raise money to make sure they have the max matching funds. New York is unique in that stuff. We help them get their message out. This is what we need to do that's going to be proactive, that we can actually win seats. That's the only way. Like I said, I've been involved since '92. I've been involved with good government groups, all kinds of stuff. Okay. The only way we make changes, in legitimate changes, is get the right people in offices to start actually passing legislation.
We do.
I'm saying that there's two things that we
But
can do.
actually, really, what we need to do is be grooming ourselves.
Right. So
because we are so tired of the same people getting elected. We need to educate ourselves and educate the people that are in this program. Always, I mean, DJ, this is your program. And we should all support your program with this. Because this is where we're starting.
Hey, DJ.
Right?
By the way, hey, quick question.
DJ.
Quick question. Does anyone know someone named Michelle Kettrell? Someone's trying to join in. If you know Michelle Kettrell, I'll let him in. But otherwise, I don't know Michelle. Once again, if you're watching, please hit me off on like voicemail or something, or
DJ.
or text me. If I know you. Yeah, go ahead.
DJ.
Go ahead, Chris. What do you want to say?
Let me speak. So about that, I know we can't go forward about that, but I said you got to run the right candidates this time. You know, these offices, you got to run the right candidates. Sometimes it's about running the right people, not running people because they are loyal to you,
Hey, I got a question about one of these races right here. By the way, right? Yeah. Now I'd say one of the races I think is closest is this Yusef Salaam versus
Inez Dickens and Al Taylor.
Yeah, because a lot of the races are like all the endorsements are one way or the other. But if you look at the endorsements for Al Taylor versus Yusef, it's like split there. So do you think that one of these candidates is really strongly for one position versus another, and can that
Al is all American with this. See, Al mingles with everybody. He mingles with the progressives. He mingles with county. He mingles with everybody that you think of. You can think of. And so he has a big advantage.
Al Taylor's a good guy. Al Taylor's a good guy. So is Inez Dickens. Yusef, I helped. Actually, I helped Sharpton when I was with Sharpton, and that's really where I started with Sharpton. And we helped Central Park 5 with Bill Perkins. May he rest in peace. They're all good people, but I just say we need people that know what they're doing. We can't start from scratch. So, you gotta really look at what these people bring, right? While we want change, when we start from scratch all over again, it's a problem because that it's just because of the corruption that's in.
Outstanding, Carmen. Like I know they're all great, right? Yeah, and it's nice to have that choice. But is there anything that any of them could do to really secure your vote, right? Yeah, to really, right, that your district needs, or, right? Honestly, I'm a huge
let
fan
me
of your
tell you,
resident manager.
I'm not in that district.
Yeah, so
I'm not in that district, but I tell you what, Al Taylor has helped me out here in Douglas. Inez has been #1 at Douglas. So those are things that I look at. I have 3,000 residents. I'm the president of Douglas. I got 3,000 residents. And those are the things that matter to me. Who comes here? I mean, I got elected officials right now. My senator, Adriana Spayat, he never comes here. Sean Abreu doesn't come here. Danny O'Donnell doesn't show up. So, I got people from other districts showing up to help us out.
We can also organize and strengthen our bonds for next year, like when Julia Salazar comes up and stuff
exactly.
like that.
So
I love Julia Salazar.
Okay.
So we all agree that we should start supporting candidates. That's unanimous.
I believe that's we need to organize first.
Right.
We need to organize ourselves. What you were saying earlier, love.
So
what you were saying earlier.
Yeah. So I want to do both. Like we want to support candidates as a group because it gives us more power when we support the candidate. But we want to also start joining each other's groups because I support helping disabled people too. I support, ending and changing the private prison system and all that too. I support everybody supports all these stuff. And it's come to a point where it's just like if you walk around the street and you talk to any normal person, they would agree with you. And so we know that the situation with the people is ripe enough for where if we just organize properly in this way, then we could really, really start a big movement. And how I think it could happen is the bifold attack. It's not just thinking in, this is I feel like people who always think in narrow-minded, this is the only way, we can only do this, then you're never going to succeed. I'm open-minded. So if I try to attack and it seems to fail, then we route completely. And so that's why I'm saying we do a bifold attack. On the one hand, we support candidates that we support. We make a list of the candidates that we think are the best to support, and we start focusing on them. And we make a contract with them too. Hey, if we're going to support you, then you have to promise to do these things. And if you don't, then you got to resign and pay us back. But on the other hand, we also start joining each other's groups and creating a presence in each other's groups, and then start hosting events, and then start growing as a group together.
I totally agree. But I think the first thing we should do is vote on, because DJ just we're on his platform now and his panel. I think that we need to start from here. And see, I organize everybody. I'm quite sure everybody here organizes, right? And I think we need to start with ourselves first and invite people that are going to contribute to this program, so that we can actually get a group to start going to different groups.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Exactly.
If you have a group, we take our people to your group. But we can't just be by ourselves saying, oh, we support it and don't bring no people.
No, exactly. But we're already 10 people in this group right here. And all 10 of us know at least one person. So that just makes us 20 minimum. So with 20 minimum.
I'm quite sure is Cynthia on this panel? Is Cynthia here?
I'm here.
See, we already got two.
Yeah. and then
that's how we do over here in the West Side. When on the West Side, we tell each other what's happening and we join the groups.
And so with 20
that's what we need to be doing.
That's already a good enough presence to where if the 20 of us all joined, whatever groups that you're in, Carmen, and whatever groups that Eric and Mike and Chris are in, then we all support each other. We're going to start creating a big presence in those groups. And then from there, we're going to have more of a voice. We're going to be more unified. And then we can start hosting group events with all these 20, 50 different groups. And that's going to really start scaring people.
Right.
That's going to really start.
Actually,
the other thing, Eli.
Me and Michael Sablaska have been doing this so long. It's almost like we reinventing the wheel over and over.
Right.
Me, Mike, and Cynthia, we've been doing this too long.
We're trying to organize. I'm sorry, we're trying to organize at the end of August. We're trying to organize a convention. So when the students come back to school, we're going to actually capture them all and give them to your
Well,
yeah.
well,
Yeah.
again, we're taking your lead. We're on your show, and so right now we're supporting you, your show, and we need to start bringing people in.
Yeah. One of the things that most groups have a problem with is they don't go in depth into the problem and come up with realistic solutions.
I agree with
We
that.
have limited resources. We've been throwing money away. We never get to the root cause of a problem.
Yeah.
Because some people might think it's politically incorrect. Oh, you can't
Mhm.
do that or whatever. That's
Well,
we have
nonsense.
20
We need
people.
to have people
need to
come up with
remember that-
actual. Sorry, go ahead.
We need to remember that we can agree and disagree.
Oh,
right?
absolutely.
And respect that, right?
Yes.
But you know, there are no chiefs. There may be a chief, but there are no Indians.
Right.
And we have to remember sometimes you have to be an Indian.
Absolutely.
You
What's
know,
Elliot
you
got
have
to
to
say?
be an
Yeah,
Indian.
me and Carmen have gotten into many fights over the years, and we're still good friends.
That's right.
What's Elliot got to say? I'm gonna mute myself.
What do you say,
Um,
D?
Elliot has his hand up.
Elliot, we can't hear you. Go ahead, Elliot.
You're on mute, Elliot. Elliot, you're on mute.
Sorry
There
about
you go.
that. I've been listening in here for a minute. I don't know if you guys can hear me or not. Can you guys hear me?
Yeah, we can hear you now.
Yeah. So I missed like the introductions and what was going on in the beginning, but my understanding of what you guys are trying to do is do primary endorsements. Like we're looking to endorse political candidates during the primary elections. I know there's a lot of talk about like different things that we want to do, but I think having a good idea of specific principles that we're looking for in candidates and endorsing those candidates. I know primary
Absolutely.
endorsements mean a lot. I worked on a couple different. I just moved back to New York, but I grew up in New York and Brooklyn, in the Bushwick and Flatbush area, and just we've seen endorsements. Like someone brought up Julia, endorsing candidates. We get a lot of energy in endorsing candidates in a lot of different organizations. We get, but holding them accountable to those principal goals we're looking for in the organization and establishing those, I think would move us forward. And what that looks like, you guys talked about medical freedoms and policing and all sorts of different things. But as as like this organization, like I said, it's ELF's platform. What are the principal things that we're looking for in a candidate that we endorse, and establishing those before we try and do the large scale organizing, and then really putting the boots on the ground with canvassing and other things to help candidates. I think would help move us forward. So I'd be interested in getting involved in that and kind of establishing things. I know a lot of other endorsing organizations, they kind of set standards for what they expect from a candidate. And if we had a standardized, and anything from bills to just, but like you said, more concrete things besides just, public housing and public safety, these big words we throw around. I mean, these communities, when we don't endorse bills that actually affect them. I think that's something I'd definitely be interested in getting involved with.
Elliot,
I would say to do is probably write up, do a and maybe we can get some volunteers here to write up something that says this is what we stand for, and make a group where we can meet and talk over these different things that we want to happen before we invite people in. It should be a standard that DJEF, since we're on your show, and I'm going to keep repeating that. You right? We want to make sure that we can support whatever it is that we want to do. Always remember that we're not always going to agree on certain candidates, and that's okay, because you can have other people support one candidate and another support another. It doesn't matter. That's your choice, and we shouldn't beat each other up for that either.
So let's make a list of the things that we want to support.
Right.
We'll put it in the chat.
Yeah.
I really
What do you-
appreciate the support. Yeah, I
think is
actually.
number one?
What's funny is someone named Julia Salazar is supposedly trying to enter the thing. We're gonna see
Oh,
though.
she could. Put her
it
on.
might not be her. We'll see. Yeah, I'm actually texting
Let her
her
in.
right now to see if that's actually her before I let her in, because
So I had to show you her face.
we're gonna
Yeah.
see what's up. Yeah, so I'm texting her right now because I met her once and got her number.
Elliot, I would change one thing.
Go ahead.
That what you were saying. We're not going to hold the candidates accountable. We're going to hold them when they're elected official accountable. because they can, once they're elected, that's when they
That's
have
when
to
you hold
be
them accountable.
exactly. Not
Exactly.
the candidate. It's when they're elected,
Mhm.
then they have a requirement to do certain things.
Well, that's why we need to agree on what requirements we want in these candidates, so that when we do interview them, right, we ask those sort of questions.
You know, I wish Nolan
And then the
Farrell was still
group can
here. Actually,
decide. The
my man.
group can decide if that's the candidate that they really want. That's it. So,
Yeah.
you know, there's certain things. You may want public safety. I may want public housing. I may want, you know, I may want the police department, police brutality. There's just so many things that we can come up with, right? And put that in writing.
Yes.
Okay,
So we
let's
can start
yeah.
writing the-
Also, let's not make the same mistake the Green Party did and does. They agree on the top 10 issues, but then they fight on which one should be number one.
Yeah.
No, we can't do that.
If we
What are
all
we
agree,
unanimous about? What do we
They all
all
should be
unanimously agree about?
Yeah, exactly.
Let's ask this. First of all, the priority is what we unanimously agree about.
Exactly.
So let's just go around the room.
You know.
Well, it's not going to be unanimous because I know almost everybody's on this call is going to support term limits. I don't think term limits work, and New York
Me
City
neither.
is a prime
Me neither.
example.
Me neither. Term limits.
And it hasn't worked in
Nebraska.
hasn't worked in a lot of different places.
Nebraska is one of
It's
them.
a quick fix solution that
That's all
has
it is.
not worked.
Yeah, it
Because
works. It does.
hold on. Wait, hold on.
Hello?
Let me give you this one thing about term limits. Okay, what happens when you have term limits? Who has all the institutional knowledge at that point? The elected official who's only been there for 6 months, or the lobbyist who's been there for 20? The lobbyist, there's no accountability. There's no accountability to the lobbyist. He doesn't have to vote. No one elects him in. No one can vote him out. He is an employee of a larger movement of
A lot of corruption.
Yes. However, an
Right.
elected official, the term limit on an elected official is every election.
Yeah, Nathaniel, we don't have to get into this exactly now, but this is something we need to talk about because most people agree with it. But when we talk about specific issues, that's when we go over the pros and cons, and we might agree about the issue, but might disagree about some of the solutions, but that will be worked out when we work out the issues. This is not the proper time and place right now to work that out because we can go into many different things of why. So we
No, let's come up with a solution. I think, and again, I think we should just everyone should put in the chat what we should stand for as a group, what you want to see as a group, so that we have something in writing. We can help D. Jeff put everything together. We can do a committee on the MOU, whatever we want to decide on. We should make little groups with us that. One group may be good at one thing and then the other group, right?
Yeah.
And so we can select exactly what we want to do.
One thing I want to know from you guys right now, the thing is that before, I think we started to talk about it, but I don't really get any real, or I want more responses. Talk about RCV. We've already been through our second cycle of, ranked choice voting. Do you feel like it had any impact? It's being sold to us as a possible solution. Do you feel it had any impact? It's our second go at it. Did anybody use it in any way?
See, the thing
I think it sucks, to tell you the truth.
See, I don't think it's the thing is ranked choice voting only works when you have nonpartisan elections. When you have it, the primaries in the general election, ranked choice voting is not the panacea that they painted out. But if you have ranked choice voting in an open primary system, that's when it's going to be much better.
Yeah,
and you take like the top 3 or 4 people out of that ranked choice primary to go into the general election. That's how it should work.
And I really appreciate the experience of everybody in this room today.
Hey, DJ, can I get my DJ?
Yeah.
Can I get my 2 cents about that?
Yeah, but
go ahead.
Just so you know, before I say that, I just want to say that everybody in this room isn't experienced in this. Well, some more than others, right? Definitely, Mike is definitely one of the very experienced one. I think that Carmen was also a former district leader, as a Democrat, a very respectable career. And
She was also the chief of staff for Assemblyman many years
For
ago.
a couple of them.
Hello?
Couple of them, that's right.
exactly. So there's a lot of
DJ.
just knowledge in the room, and the thing is that you know, really appreciate your perspective and that you guys bring to this, and yours, Chris. Yeah.
Yeah. So let me
just
give
let
my
you
two
go
cents about that. So about that, you know, it doesn't matter about the type of voting you do. You just have to you have to run the right candidates. Now, going back, I know Dion left the chat and talk about Steve Spears. I know that some of you guys might like Steve Spears, some of you guys don't like him. But what happens is if you have an open primary and the Republican Party decides to run a community-based candidate who's actually at these community events, who actually in NYCHA buildings, who actually, it's like a Joe Ariola. They have a better chance of winning against someone that's not in the community and who just want to talk about vaccines all day. Now, the thing about open primary, this is the thing I have a little thing about open primaries is the people that really push it for open primaries are the people that they know they can't win a regular primary or a first past the poll primary, or they can't win a ranked choice voting because they're not likable. Now the point is you have to be likable to actually win these races.
That's not true.
That's the truth is about, huh?
That's not absolutely true. I grew up as an Independence Party member and everything else. I've run offices. Everybody says they like me, but you can't win because you're not in the Democrat or Republican Party. So the media won't cover you. I'm one of the few people in the country that actually read NAFTA. I was one of the most knowledgeable people on NAFTA. Probably 1,000 people had as much knowledge as I did on NAFTA. Nobody would put me on except for QVC during that time. I would destroy people under the NAFTA thing. I originally supported it until I read the damn agreement. So no, it's not true. The media has a huge hand in this.
Yes,
Dominic Carter, not Dominic, Lewis Dodley said on television a number of times, he will not put people on that he doesn't have tons of money to run for office.
You know, this is a unique.
It doesn't matter how. I've never been on New York One.
New York One, for real. New York One is very corrupt. Very.
Yeah.
Very.
I mean,
corrupt.
I
is
know.
Channel 5.
No,
so is Channel 5.
Chris, just to let you know.
Media, you know I know media.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
You know I know media. And let me tell you something. They know they do a lot of crazy stuff.
Yeah, but
they win a lot of elections.
Yeah, Chris, just let me just say this and then I'll shut up on this. But the media, every time I run for office, the major media, New York One, everything else, will not cover me. However, when I was a player in the Independence Party, every single time they had a question about what was going on in the Independence Party or other things, they would call me up. I know most of the political media, not most, probably about 50% of the political media in this city. But when I run for office, they will not cover me. Here's another example. Newsday ran a expose on the Fulani people. I gave them 80% of their information, where to find it, hand directed to them. They wrote a six-piece series on it. When I tried to write an op-ed to get it put in that there's good people like me, they refused to print it. They said, okay, we'll give you a letter to the editor. It had to be 150 words.
Listen,
and then they edited that on me.
And then
so don't play that game because the media controls so much shit.
Look what we had to get. Look what we had to do to get public housing on the map.
Yeah.
Look what we had to do. And people still try to crucify me for it. But guess what? As long as I would have done it over, as long as the public housing would have got on stage. It was never on national stage. So we put our fucking lives at stake on that shit.
You know what? Yeah, and
So DJ, let me know about that before, about the media, about campaign finance. Now, I know people have their
I'm sorry, Chris, you just got frozen. But the thing is that Chris has actually covered some events with these candidates, and public housing hasn't really come up, and it's really disappointing. It really
That's
is.
why
Because
I
they
went
don't
on
have
that
an
meeting.
answer. A
That's
lot of
the
candidates
problem.
don't have an answer on it.
That's right. They don't. Because you know
And
why? Because they're all getting money to privatize Rad Pack and the Blueprint and the trust.
And they
That's
talk,
why.
and they talk
They're
about affordable
Sty-
housing,
getting
and they're
paid.
pocketing for
and
themselves.
Stuytown,
Exactly.
Stuytown.
We need to drive this issue within our own communities. You know what I mean?
There
And
you
create our
go.
own systems. We cannot
There
trust
you
their
go.
systems anymore.
That's why I'm doing resident management corporations.
Yep.
That's why. Because they don't come in here with that. I bet you they don't come over here with that Rad Pack and Trust. Because you know what? They know me. They know better. They know I don't care. I will put my life on the line
Politically, that's how it
for
was
what I
passed.
believe in.
Yeah.
We probably need to do a media blitz on public housing and the housing situation. Mike has a lot of information on why housing is a problem. I've got some information on why a huge segment of the population does not have any access to the housing program. Maybe we should do a media blitz through social media and other things on the United Front so they can't ignore it.
You got to mobilize. They don't mobilize, though. That's the problem. They don't actually.
Well, most of these people are so financially strapped. They're so, they're so
You know what it
stressed
is?
out.
New York City housing has been corrupted for ages and years. People have been stealing money.
Yeah.
We prove it, and you know what? They just change stations.
I
That's all
like
they
to
do.
piggy bank off of what Carmen's getting ready to say. So I just got to throw this out there since I've been sitting quiet for so long. Carmen and I have been presidents forever. For those of you that don't know us, and believe you, except for Mike that knows Carmen, y'all don't know us. We are been dedicated presidents. We put our lives on the line all the time. We don't take money. And there's one individual on this call that actually smeared our names, that went all over Twitter on a rant about us taking money and being corrupt. So if this group is going to work collectively together, then when it comes to public housing, since Carmen and I are the experts, I would ask that you defer to us, because I don't need someone that does not live in public housing, has not experienced what we go through living here and dealing with our tenants, trying to talk about public housing after smearing our names. And I'm sorry, DJ, I know this is your platform, but that has to be known to this panel.
Okay.
Because
I mean, who was it, Chris?
Absolutely.
Okay, Chris, I'm sorry, man, but these people are,
And he knows that.
They put in a lot of work, so.
And he said that we were corrupt, that no NYCHA president should be trusted, that we take money, that we don't listen to our residents. He went on a whole damn Twitter rant.
Well, you know.
And I'm gonna tell you something. If I would have been taking money, I
like
still wouldn't be in public housing.
We wouldn't be living here.
I'm sorry about that. Yeah, but it's better to
So don't act like you know public housing, Chris, when you don't live in it. Don't act like you know more than I do when you don't.
But
let's all get that straight.
Okay, let's move along.
Yep.
Let's move along, because we're here to
Thanks for
solve.
letting me know. I didn't know about that. I'm glad I knew.
Okay, we're here to listen. I already confronted Chris. I confronted him. We met at we were at the same rally, defending the same thing, and I'm already past it. I don't need to revisit it, because I know who the hell I am. So it doesn't matter. People like that, I don't give credence to. I don't give air to. Okay, because there's just too much out here, people suffering, and that's what I care about. I don't care about dumb people.
I get it.
I really don't.
Infinite time. I get
So anyway, we're here to make solutions, right?
Yeah.
We're here to come up with solutions, and see how we can better each other. And hopefully, now that everyone is in the same room, you can get to really know who's who, and really get to know us, right?
Yeah.
But we need to make solutions. I got on this Zoom because you invited me, DJ, and I got a lot of respect for you. And I really believe that this is a beautiful platform right now. And so we should not leave here without making some type of solution or paperwork that we should all go by.
Exactly. What do you think is the first thing, in your opinion, Carmen?
I think I think public safety is one of the biggest issues right now. Listen, I would say public housing all the time. Don't get me wrong, because public housing is my baby. But right now, you know, I'm trying to do put the guns down rally, because a lot of our kids are getting shot out here, and as you know, the violence in subways. So public safety, I think we should. For me, I think it's right up there.
Hey, Carmen, I have a question for you.
Sure.
Because you're talking about public safety and public housing. You see some of the problems that dealing with these two issues are connected?
They are.
Okay, so I think we should point to that this is a fact that these two things are connected. And what makes public housing a problem is the public safety issue. And what makes public safety problem is also a public housing issue. And we need to figure out why there's such a public safety issue in public housing, because I guarantee you it's not what people think. And so much there's a lot more involved here. There's way more involved in the public safety end that surrounds public housing than what people think. There's too little resources. I think there people are trying to fight over their own safety. There's a reason why they behave the way they do. It's hierarchy of deficiency needs, that these people are so strapped with so few resources, and anything they do that might better themselves, they're punished for it potentially. If certain family dynamics are punished, certain things, these people are kept in such a cage.
When you say these people, could you clarify that for me? Okay. I hate that word, these people.
I would really like, if you could help me find a better word, I would really appreciate it, because I actually work with a lot. So what I mean by these people is that
I think it's our people.
I like that a lot
really believe we're all one. So
but I can't. The reason why I can't, since I don't live in public housing, that's the reason I don't say our people. But I can say
if you want to address public housing residents, right? Then that's what you say.
If we're addressing safety and security,
the housing developments.
Yeah.
But see, not everyone that's causing the problem is actually in the residence. Is one of the things I want to get to. So I don't know how to do that, but we should maybe figure out a better way of describing what we're doing.
One thing that I want to talk about is if we're talking about safety and security, right? One of the problems is that we also need justice, right, for people that are wrongfully incarcerated. And the fact of the matter is that, unfortunately, right, we take a look at public housing, we take a look at criminal justice, we look at the lack of accountability. So one of the programs that we're trying to also get support for is Serpico also supports this particular idea of having citizens review boards, right? Civilian review boards, giving them actual teeth, and actually making it so people on the civilian review board are not just political and organizational appointees. We could combine.
I believe you're totally right. You're totally right, Jeff.
So DJ,
but DJ, yeah, go ahead.
We can impact this election now, though, right? We have a primary in front of us in like 3 days. Voting will begin. There are some, I know Eric, you ran against Alexa. I think she's running in this cycle.
Yeah. I wanted to run again, but okay. Only so many hours.
Paul Rodriguez.
Is anybody on this call running for office?
I ran, just real quick, I ran against Alexa Aviles, who is a chair on public housing, which is ironic because
one at a time, folks.
She's a lobbyist for Pratt. And if you look at what Pratt does to poor communities, they're no friend of public housing. They're no friend of anyone but their constituents who are relatively white, affluent liberals moving in from across the country. So just so you know,
you said Pratt or Pratt?
Pratt
School.
Eric, own the department or city planning, Fifth Avenue Committee, all the developers. If you want to talk about it, I ran. Christopher Johnson called me a racist because I'm white and I ran in a Hispanic community.
I never called you a racist, man.
I saw your tweet. I have a hidden racist agenda. Okay. I thought I was the only one who didn't like you, but apparently there are other people. There are other great
Guys,
people.
guys, be nice.
Because he talks
be
about
nice.
things he knows nothing
He,
about.
no, he knows nothing
I never
about.
called you a racist, man. What are you talking about?
You,
I
you
said,
said I had
look,
a hidden
I
racist
never called
agenda.
you a
This isn't
And
productive.
you
This
believe
is
it.
not.
opinions, yeah.
This is
So I'm
not
glad that we
productive.
can, we can agree on some things, and some things is not cool. I'm sure one day I'm gonna piss Chris off, and y'all
No,
gonna laugh
yeah.
at me and say I told you so. But you know,
It's terrible.
he could be critical, but if we can work together on some
Yeah,
things,
but like I said, be careful. Crad is coming for government housing.
Oh yeah, everybody's coming for government housing because because it's sitting on valuable land, and the real estate industry wants it. They don't care about the people in it.
That's why. That's
Mike,
why.
talk about Stuytown. Carmen
That's
and
why
Mike
we
talk
talk
Stuytown.
about organizing,
Right,
and
right.
organizing.
Yeah,
And
right now we should lay out a
we
plan
should be
of the step.
organizing right now.
Yeah,
we
not
should
talking
be
about
organizing
issues,
right
yes.
now. We're beating around the bush. We're beating around the bush, and everything is important here. But you know, before we get off of D. Jeff's whatchamacallit, we need to come up with some solutions.
Well,
I think no, we should come up with a game plan. I think we need to do. No, I think what we need to do is to say, okay, when our next meeting is going to be, and what are we going to cover? Okay, what are going to be our top 10 issues? What are we looking
we
for
sent
in
one
candidates?
already, which was public safety and
well,
housing.
yeah, there's a bunch of
at the same time.
right.
So
somebody else come up with the second.
Well, no, but what I'm saying, this is not the proper form. We'll set up a meeting just to do that. Name our top 10 issues. Then we'll also at that meeting we should say, what are we looking for in a candidate? Because not all candidates are going to say our top 10 issues are what they are.
Well, the primary is just another week away.
Yeah, so we're probably done
now,
for
the
that.
thing is
It's
that
probably going to
actually,
be more for the general.
Mike, why can't we just finish this call with that at least having been done?
Check this out.
Because otherwise,
I do have a mailing list. And the thing is that this mailing list, right, I advise everybody to get on it, and I'll update. And by the way, you may have your own mailing lists. I will actually promote your mailing list and encourage everybody to go to your own social media, and I'll put those on my mailing list, right, your social media links and all that. Now, the thing is that I believe I'm very happy to have you. Now, what can we work on right now?
That's
the thing
right.
is that in 3 days, the votes are going to start. My man, Reverend Keith Gadsden, who has just come to the call, by the way, who is actually the second longest man held and wrongfully convicted, right? He's trying to get accountability from the Queen's DA's office. You know,
does he have a petition?
I'm sorry, what's that?
Does he have a petition?
Yeah, there is a petition. Actually, that's
okay. So we should all get on that petition. We should start that, and maybe get that petition. Everyone get a copy of that petition sent to the email, and then we should pass it around.
And
I'll sign it so other people can sign it.
And his
10,
historic thing could reflect back and help the people in public housing with your issue, right? And then he could help people with disabilities, and we could gang up together, and then maybe actually affect this election.
Totally agree.
Candidates to support. There's not a lot of time left, but I know who I endorse. I like Chris Marte down in Chinatown, but everybody, if you want to shout out some candidates right now, go ahead. If you have someone you support, you know, I mean, try to affect this election right now. We can talk about why.
Well, I'm going to support Inez Dickens.
Okay, that's cool. Any other races or anybody other candidates?
Bernadette Peter.
I only support people that support me.
Like that.
Bernadette Ferreira in the Democratic primary in the 13th.
Okay.
Most of the candidates I'm supporting don't have primaries.
Okay.
That's a good thing.
Wong in District 43, Brooklyn.
Is Paul Rodriguez running in the 38?
Yeah, in the Republican line. Republican.
Reverend Keith Gadsden, are you here? Can you hear me?
Can you hear me?
Yeah. Oh, okay. Yeah. So, why don't you just introduce yourself and what brought you here today?
Well, I'm just curious to know what's going on in these politics things. This is all new to me, most of it, and well, all I know is I'm against cats, malignant cats.
Yeah.
And what's really disturbing is that it took them 2 days to arrest me. They did fingerprints and they did forensic reports. And I recently had a conversation with my lawyer, and I said it took like 3 months, less than 3 months, I was convicted. but it's taken the DA over 2 years to finish an investigation. And I spoke with the DA. He's saying he wants to investigate the deceased proclaimed witness. For what?
Yo, it's,
Who's the DA? Who's the DA?
Melinda Katz.
Yeah.
Melinda.
Yeah. She got a lot of high-profile endorsements recently.
Yeah. She really does.
Yeah.
See, and that's where I think we all can be helpful, because maybe I know Linda Katz for years, and we need to be. That's why we need to listen more. And I hear what you're saying, and maybe we should make some of those calls and find out what's, because once we start making calls, people start listening. If you're on this panel and you're asking for help, that's really what you're doing right now, and that's cool. And anyone that knows Melinda Katz should give her a call. If you can, Jeff, get his information and please text it to my phone.
I will. Absolutely.
If he would like, but I don't want to do it unless he says I can.
Yo, Rev Keith, that's cool with you, right? Carmen's were good peoples, yeah?
Of course you can. I need all the help.
Okay, so he's going to give you my information, and we're going to chat.
Excellent. Yeah,
okay.
Keith Gasson is a historic figure.
Because I know Melinda Katz. I know her so well, she sat in my living room.
Okay.
Oh, wow.
We're going to make this happen. Let's go. All right.
Well, listen, I just want to say one thing. They made a fabricated eyewitness at the distance of 2.5 football fields away.
I have videos
and
of all of this,
the officer never even showed the court to show probable cause to arrest me.
That's why I'm asking you to give me a call.
Yeah.
Okay.
And that's one of the things, and that's one of my issues is too many judges are like kings, dictators of their courtrooms, and we need to somehow
change that system.
Absolutely, and we also have to educate the people that are being put on juries to actually, hopefully, oversee a lot of this nonsense that's going on in court.
That's why what DJEF was just talking about. Mm-hmm. We need to make committees on overseeing all of these agencies. And like he said, a citizens committee.
Yeah, not appointees. Yeah.
When I made complaints, I found out that all those entities are investigating within themselves. Lawyers investigating lawyers, DAs investigating DAs, judges investigating, and not going against each other.
Yep. What is your name? Because your voice sounds so familiar.
My name is Reverend Keith Finesse Gatson.
Okay. All right.
He plays the piano.
Right.
Yeah.
And sing. I'm also a canvas paint artist.
Yeah.
That's what's up.
He got his stuff in.
Where you from in Brooklyn?
No, I live in Manhattan on 28th Street.
The Lower East Side?
No, right off of 5th Avenue.
Okay. Yeah. Okay.
Yep.
Yeah, we should rap a little bit, babe.
All right. Yeah.
So Carmen, did you see
my info?
Yeah, you
and
see
not on the text.
So y'all see, like I put in the chat, I'm trying to do what you said. We try to make a list of what the main.
Please, somebody come up with something else.
And it's Bernadette Ferreira, not Carrera.
So far, what we got,
I'll be right back. I got a call.
Okay. So far, we got public safety and security, which I think is the same thing, maybe. Wrongful
education.
Conviction.
Yep.
Oh, that's a good one. Education. So I'm gonna put that as what should we put that number 7? Education.
Disabilities. People with disabilities.
You're right. Absolutely.
There's a variety of things to deal with them.
Hold on. I have a big thing about homeless people, and it's the fact that they're there's no care. It's just ridiculous.
Yeah, they don't get any care at all.
Yeah, I feel like that should be number 8, honestly. It's just the amount of homeless people everywhere and the fact that they are, first of all, they could just leave.
Look, I'll just get at me afterwards, and I'll just send everybody's information, and then you can Cynthia Tibbs and
Yeah.
Quinones, they are very knowledgeable in the public housing thing. They are tenant association presidents, and that cannot be denied. And you can contact them directly about tenant association things, right? And then Eric, if you want to ask questions about election stuff going on, since he ran before, he would know about that. If you want to help us with the criminal justice stuff, Keith Gadsden, we'll be working on other projects as well together. Yeah. We can work with them directly or all together. But this primary cycle happens in 3 days. Yeah? I'm trying to make something happen in 3 days.
I want to hear what everybody else has to say about what they think should be something that we should add to our list, and if anybody disagrees with that.
Mental illness.
Yes.
Mental illness and homelessness should
Together.
probably be
hand.
Exactly. And also it actually goes with police too, and how things are going on. But one of the things
And let me tell you something. I work very good with my police department and my PSAs. I'm very fair about everything. I belong to, I have a police family, right? So, I'm like inside of that. And we need justice as well as we need order.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
You understand? We have a lot of good police officers that are not the same as other officers. And we have to start recognizing that, and our community has to start recognizing that. We cannot keep bashing people that we call when we're in fucking trouble. Excuse my French.
Well, which is causing us to have a shortage in police officers, which
go, 'cause
means
a lot
crime's
of-
going to get much worse.
Yes, and that's why it's gotten worse.
Right. The other
That's
thing
why it's gotten worse.
one of the other things I would put on to the list, supporting small businesses, mom and pop shops, because that's the lifeblood of the city.
Definitely.
And
supporting small businesses.
Yeah.
they're really
we don't
get
lobby. We
to
don't
be
lobby,
extinct.
and that's the problem. Is I'm a small business owner. I see Amazon coming in, throwing money to our locally elected politicians.
Oh yeah.
Elected took
Oh,
thousands
yeah.
of dollars from Amazon.
Oh yeah.
But
That's why we're so corrupt.
I said that they're trying to replace small business owners with Amazon fulfillment centers, and also they're trying to replace homeowners with not with government housing, but housing built by our city comptroller Brad Lander.
No, that's not true. What it is Goldman Sachs and all these big companies wants to own all of it because they don't want us to own any property. So that's part of the problem. The other thing is supporting small businesses. That will also help reduce the crime, because one of the things small businesses usually do is hire kids in the local area to get their first jobs and everything, which gets them off the street. We stopped doing that. Here's one of the things that so many of our problems are interlinked, and we try to treat them differently. We're trying to cure the symptoms and not the entire problem. Society is interconnected in so many different ways, and we have to look at that and say, how does this solution affect these other 10 different things? And nobody does that. They throw a solution out there that they think is going to work, and it actually makes things worse on so many different ways. And that's something we have to educate our people. We have to look at the bigger picture of what's going on in society and how everything is interconnected.
Okay, so far we have, let me see, we have how many topics? 9?
11.
11. Okay, where was I for that? Home.
So we got public safety,
disability, education.
Yeah.
Low property tax would also help support.
Reverend Gatt's petition.
Yeah.
626.
I'll put that link in the chat right now and the event.
And then we got education, disability, homelessness and mental illness, supporting small businesses. And then I put number 11, holding politicians we support accountable after their election
with legal contracts.
We can definitely grill them. Candidates need to get grilled. We need to know what they support and what they
No, but
don't
we need to
support.
have contracts.
And we need to make sure.
Hey, everyone, I'm gonna have to bow out. I gotta get going. I just want to let everyone know. Keep me in the loop with this stuff. Carmen, I would really like to meet you sometime. If there's so many questions I have.
Let's do that, baby. Let's do that.
I can arrange that.
All right, thank you so much, Mike. You know, let's all have something or other sometime next week. I gotta get going. I'll talk to you guys soon.
Bye
Bye
bye.
To
like kind of like close it soon, anyways. Yeah, like we've been
Yeah,
here for
it's
about
been a
like 2 hours
pleasure.
now. So I do.
Yeah,
appreciate,
and I think we got enough stuff down, DJ.
Yeah. So I just shared the link in the chat right there for the petition for Nolan Farrell, and if you guys have anything that you guys want, or anybody you want petition for, I'll do some groundwork. Yeah, I'll help out this lady told me about Mike, and I know that you will return a favor. So
okay.
I already owe you one, man. I appreciate you. Yeah, you're a good.
Not
friend.
a problem.
You,
Anytime.
yeah. Thank you. So
I really appreciate you, DJ.
Thank you so much. Yeah, God bless.
And Cynthia, I'm glad you cleared that up. I know
Thank
it was killing you.
Yeah,
Listen,
I'll tell you,
I worked too hard for this rep. I worked too hard.
When do you want
for
to set
this
up our
rep.
next meeting?
They put in a lot of
Thank
time.
you.
I'm signing the petition right now.
Thank you.
Lee,
Thank you, DJ.
Lee, I noticed you said something about Nolan Farrell petition, but you didn't say my petition just now.
No, it says if you take a look at it says exonerate Nolan Farrell and Reverend Keith Gadsden, justice for the wrongfully convicted. That's the. Let me take a look at the actual petition itself.
Okay.
It's his
All right.
picture there, yeah, but it's both of you guys are on there, yeah. If you click on it, yeah.
I don't see it. Well,
the link is in there, yeah. The link is in the
All
chat
right.
right there.
It's signed.
Hopefully people will be signing it real shortly, yeah. We're on the 20th. We're going in front of the Queen's DA's office, and I know Yusuf Salam was actually at the for ERAP. He was there, so that was kind of cool. Maybe he'll show up.
I'm sharing it on Facebook.
Appreciate that, yeah. So look, I like
Yeah,
Al Taylor
we
too.
should
He's
all-
been
we
with
should
us at
all-
the exoneration event too. We should have both of them supporting us. That would be cool. Yeah. Tristan Jordan.
Yeah, definitely.
dropped. That was interesting. Yeah, that was unexpected.
Okay, so I did it on Twitter, I got it on WhatsApp, and I got it on Facebook.
Thank you so much. Yeah, we appreciate you.
You know it.
So,
For you, all the time.
thank you. Okay. All right, so I think that's pretty much good. So, any last words before we clock out?
Thank you very
Can we set up
much.
our next meeting before we go? Can we set up our next meeting?
You know what? I'll get back to you guys. Just do the newsletter, and I'll talk to you guys, and I'll just send out an email or something. Yeah. Get back
Okay.
to you. All right. Cool.
All right.
We'll see what happens with this primary. All right.
All right.
Yeah, I just want to say it was a pleasure to listen in, and futuristically, I would be listening in also. Again,
We'll get you some
more.
justice, Keith. Yeah. We got you.
Yeah.
All right. God bless. Thank you.
All right. Good night, everybody.
All right. God bless you all, and don't forget to hook me up with
Good
this Carmen